How's it going, boys? In today's video, we're going to be going over some weapons in BO1 that we could all just live without, either because they're straight up bad or there's just a better variant to use. As always, we're going to be pulling up the stats. Wonder weapons won't be excluded from this one, so we'll be going over some of those as well. Also, I'm a little sicky wicky, so if I sound a little off, your boy got a cold. If you want to see any more top 5s, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and without wasting any more time, let's get right to it. Starting off at number 5, we have a wonder weapon, and that wonder weapon is the Winter's Howl. This gun isn't horrible by any means on paper. It's got some cool abilities for sure, like slowing down zombies once it isn't a one-shot, but it's just so forgettable past the early rounds there really isn't any point in getting this over the ray gun. This weapon is exclusive on 5 and Verruct if you purchase the DLC. It has a base damage of 1200 to 1600, or when upgraded 1800 to 2400. Which isn't bad, it just ever so slightly outperforms a ray gun, but we'll go over why that's the only thing it has over the ray gun. It has a fire rate of 181 rounds per minute, which isn't terrible for a single shot wonder weapon, but where it does lack is definitely in the ammo, coming with 6 rounds in the chamber and a very low 24 in reserve, or when upgraded, 9 in the chamber and 36 in reserve. The reload speed for a quote-unquote pistol is quite long at 3.8 seconds for both versions of the gun. Overall, if the ammo was increased similar to the ray gun, it could definitely replace the ray gun, but since it doesn't, you really have no reason to use this weapon at all except for the fact that it looks cool. Coming in at number 4, we have the HS-10. It pains me to put it on this list as the gun looks and sounds cool, but man is this a pointless weapon. It has a base damage of 160 for every shell, which is 8, giving you a max damage of 1280, and when upgraded 300 for every shell, which is again 8, giving you a total damage of 2400. The fire rate is pretty solid at 340 rounds per minute for both versions of the gun. The ammo is quite lacking at 6 shells and 36 in reserve, or when upgraded 8 for both guns and 80 in reserve. And trust me, you will burn through that ammo. The reload speed is pretty standard at 0.5 seconds for every shell, totaling in at a max reload speed of 3 seconds and 3 seconds or 3.4 seconds when empty upgraded. This weapon doesn't really have a place in BO1 as 9 out of 10 times you go for the SPAS 12. Overall, a super mid weapon with low ammo and a big crosshair ensuring that you'll never actually get a one-shot kill. At number 3, we have the Famas. It's a really good gun in multiplayer, but man did they miss the mark with it in zombies. It has a base damage of 70 to 100 or when upgraded 100 to 150. The headshot multiplier is at least forgiving with the 4 times multiplier to the head or when upgraded a 5 times multiplier to the head. The fire rate is insane for all the wrong reasons at 937 rounds per minute for both versions of the gun. Pair that with double tap and man, you're going to be burning through that ammo in 2 seconds. Speaking of ammo, it has 30 in the mag and 150 in reserve, or when upgraded, 45 in the mag and 225 in reserve. I'll give the Famas this at least. The reload speed is a nice 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds when empty, and when upgraded you get a dual mag, so the reload speed goes down to 1.7 seconds or 2.1 seconds when empty. Honestly, if you want a fast shooting weapon, just get the RPK or even upgrade the M16. The damage for the Famas just isn't there, and paired with basically no ammo, you're just wasting your time and points on this thing. At number 2, we have a weapon that most people don't talk about, and that is the L96A1. Now I can't even lie, while gathering footage for this weapon I was surprised at how good this weapon is, but due to it being a sniper rifle, it's not optimal for most maps and not suited for most people's playstyles. It has a base damage of 500 and when upgraded it does shoot up to 1000. The headshot multiplier is actually quite impressive at 10 times, which is really good if you can actually hit your shots, but not everybody's good with snipers. The fire rate's pretty alright for a bolt action, sitting at 50 rounds per minute. The ammo actually isn't the worst at 5 in the mag and 45 in reserve, or when upgraded, 8 in the mag and 72 in reserve. But the reload speed isn't really that good at 3.3 seconds or 3.5 seconds when empty for both versions of the gun. With that being said, this gun overall isn't really that bad. It actually leans more on the good side. But be honest, when do you ever see somebody running around with the L96 on high rounds or any round in general? If you want a gun with similar damage, just grab yourself the Python like everyone else as it's way more versatile. And finally at number 1 we have the Spectre, or Spectre, whatever you want to call it, which is quite possibly the weakest gun in the game besides the 1911. This thing is a real piece of work, guys. With the base damage of 50 to 90 or 80 to 130 when upgraded, you're better off just tickling the zombies at this point. It has a headshot multiplier of 4 times or when upgraded a 5 times headshot multiplier, which would be fantastic if the gun actually did damage to begin with. Like the Famas, it has an insane fire rate of 937 rounds per minute for both versions of the gun. And again, for all the wrong reasons, cause man, the ammo is even worse with this thing at 30 in the mag and 120 in reserve. Or when upgraded, 45 in the mag and 225 in reserve. The reload speed is pretty standard for SMGs at 2.3 seconds or 3 seconds when empty for both versions of the gun. Its only good redeeming quality is that it has the highest mobility in the game, so if you're using it for training purposes, you'll have no issues with that, but I've yet to see anyone use it for this purpose, cause I haven't. This is by far the most pointless gun for SMGs and the game in general. Just grab an AK-74U or an MP5K and just call it a day, man. Well, that was a very painful top 5, and on top of that, my voice is absolutely fried, but that's gonna do it for today's video, boys. If you disagree with any of the guns on this list or found other weapons that are somehow even more useless, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more top 5s or top 10s like this one, either zombies or multiplayer, also drop it in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bam! Oh wow, that hurt my voice.